Welcome to Own Your Heart Health. I'm Dr. Regina Druz, your holistic cardiologist. This week, we will dive into common heart health concerns, uncovering root causes, and unpacking scientific discoveries and controversies. The information provided does not constitute medical advice. Please contact your healthcare practitioner before making any changes that may impact your health. Hi, everyone. I am back. I'm super excited today to be actually with Amy Stark, who runs Stark Transformation. Now, first of all, love that name. Love the moniker Stark Transformation, because Amy, you're actually are making Stark transformations in real people. Yes. So I'll tell you a little bit what I learned about Amy, and then I'm going to let her take it away, because Amy actually comes from the same area where I come from, which is New York City. And she is a former science teacher who was able to channel her love of science to help people heal from trauma. And in making that healing, accomplish a huge transformation. So Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
It's amazing. And I have to tell you that I recently had, it was sort of an interesting experience, right? So as a physician, I'm obviously a science person. And, we know quite a bit already that our emotional well-being, our thoughts are such critical components of overall health, not just in terms of chronic diseases or a response to diseases, but even in terms of longevity. And I think I never appreciated the magnitude of how these negative thoughts could be super influential until I had an unfortunate opportunity to go through, a health crisis myself and experience the negative thoughts. Yes. And that sort of started a lot of my understanding and a lot of respect. And I have to say a newfound respect, because I've been a cardiologist for 25 years. And the more I practice in that integrative, holistic way, the more I begin to understand how tremendously impactful our life experiences are on our trajectory in health and wellness. So yes. What did you see? How did you get here? Take us to the beginning. Sure. I always ask my guests, how did you grow up to be who you are today? So please tell us.
So for the first 30 years of my life, I was chronically ill. And I realized one day that I could either keep going this way and just, keep being sick and more and more medications, more and more doctor's visits. And I was like, you know what if there's another way? And so I decided, because I was a New York City public school teacher and I had just hit rock bottom. Like I could not handle it anymore. This was a specific population. You may be aware of them. I'm not sure. But they were in Brooklyn and they were a high school full of students with emotional disturbances. And I was working there because they offered to give me a free master's degree if I worked there. So I was like young and naive, and it was like a war zone in there. And like my life was threatened daily. And it burned me out so quickly. In 4 years, I had to leave my job. And that's when I was like starting to be like, okay, if I'm this sick right now at 26 years old, like right. What's the rest of my life going to look like? So somebody said to me, why don't you try meditation? And I was like, whatever. I didn't want to admit that I didn't want to do it. I was kind of scared. And I actually did it because I'm a person of my word, and I said I would. And so I sat down and I was like, wow, I feel a lot better. Like I'll try this again tomorrow and see what happens. And pretty quickly I worked up to meditating for 2 hours a day before Amazing. I went to my new job, not as a teacher. I was a teacher for a family in Upper Manhattan. And it was incredible how my body started to shift. And I started to hear the thoughts that were running on repeat through my mind. Mm-hmm. So as I started listening to how boring I was, because I would think the same thoughts, but I also heard how negative they were. And I was so shocked at because I used to be such a positive person. I was always like, they actually, people call me sunshine because I'm always like, yay, let's go. Like, this is going to be great. I don't care that it's like cloudy at the beach. It doesn't matter. And I was kind of shocked at how dark my thoughts had gotten. And so I was really glad that I was taking this time to like sort through it and try to heal myself. And as I progressed on that journey, I started to see how our thoughts really affect our body. And the more that I cleaned up my thoughts and then my thinking, the more that I calmed down my nervous system, the better choices I was making. So I was choosing to eat better. You know, I started gravitating towards like green things and eating salads instead of the sugar and the sodas and stuff like that. It's amazing how when you start to go inward, you start to calm down and hear the wisdom of the body. And that's what I teach people how to do now on a global scale. So I do these gentle nervous system resets where it's similar to EFT in that it uses the points from EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. But I don't want to introduce people to the whole EFT because it can get a little bit overwhelming. So we just tap on the body and I just tell them the emotions that they're helping to release. And it's been so transformative for them. They're sleeping through the night. Finally, they're more present. They're, you know, just leaving their jobs or relationships or partners who are not nice to them because they finally realize this is the source of, this is the source of why I'm so sick, why I'm so depressed, you know? So it's amazing how they are starting to reclaim their own bodies just the same way that I did when I started to integrate these things to heal my body and my nervous system.
So you bring up so many things and I sort of want to unpack them all because, you know, I personally, like very recently, there's a place opened up in my neighborhood, which gives you infrared sauna, cold plunge and a vitamin C shower. So I was switching into cold plunge. I did maybe like half of my legs. The vitamin C shower was good. Infrared sauna was fantastic. And so I came back home and I felt like so refreshed and so relieved. And that night when I fell asleep, you know, some of my dreams, they were sort of dreams where a lot of the thoughts and fears that I had, they kind of floated by and they went away. And, you know, it's sort of like my brain discharged all that negative energy. Because I think what really happened is that I sort of de-inflamed myself, right? You know, there's inflammation and there's de-inflammation. So I de-inflamed myself to a certain degree where like my brain finally said, oh, just let go of that crap. And so, you know, I sort of woke up and I felt so much better. So tell us a little bit more about, you know, first of all, what is emotional freedom technique? What is its premise? What is philosophy? What we know about it, how it works, and how what you are doing makes things effective, if not even more effective, but simpler for regular individuals who may not, you know a ton of stuff or have 2 hours per day to implement.
Right. Exactly. There's so much right there I want to say. Okay. First, I just want to say about the cold plunge. When you go into cold, it does change the electricity that's running through your body. And it does discharge a lot of that lower vibrational stuff. It
rewired me. I'm telling you.
I know. I believe it. I know it. I used to do so much cold plunging. It was ridiculous. I haven't recently, but anytime that I am feeling off, I'm like, I got to do a cold plunge. And they used to say, you know, when somebody was hysterical, go jump in a lake. And that's why, because they would come back to their senses. So there's a lot of wisdom out there actually. And, the things that I teach, like you were saying, not everybody has time to sit down for an hour session or 10 minutes even. Sometimes we're in the pickup line picking up our kids and we're feeling like not our best self. And we need something quick to do, even in public, to reset ourselves so that we can get more focused, calm down, and not take out our trauma or our emotions on our kids. So I have a slew of things that I keep in my back pocket that I teach people. So I'll teach you all some of those. And then we'll go through what emotional freedom technique is and what the gentle nervous system reset it really is. So the gentle nervous system reset is just using the points, tapping on the body. And so we'll go into EFT. So EFT is emotional freedom technique, and it is based on Chinese medicine. So it's using the points on the body, the acupuncture points. So
like acupressure, acupuncture points.
Yeah.
Okay.
And each point is related to specific emotions that we carry in our body. So when we tap on them, it helps to release them or eliminate them from the body. And it's kind of hard to comprehend if you're like really scientific, like I was. I was like, all right, whatever. This sounds like it's amazing, but I don't know.
A little voodoo involved.
Yeah. Once you try it though, it's amazing because people are like, come across my stuff all the time and they're skeptical and they're like, well, I'll give it a shot. And they're like, oh my God, I was yawning so much. I was crying so much. What is this? And I'm like, it is accessing those deeper emotions that we've stored throughout our lifetime that have been waiting for a moment to come forward. And we know that we store these emotions. And I'll tell you an example. For instance, like if a mom let's say a husband comes home and he's carrying all of his groceries in for the family. And most women would be like, thank you so much for getting the groceries. Right. But let's say he doesn't take his shoes off. And then she all of a sudden notices that he has his shoes on and she's asked him a million times. Yeah. She explodes. It is not that moment. It is the backlog of those emotions, that memory of that information. And so this is why we want to kind of just keep dumping these emotions and have techniques to release them so that we don't blow up.
Diffusing ourselves like a little time
so we're
bomb.
Not like, we're not like a time bomb. So the cool thing that really got me interested in EFT is the fact that when you tap for 1 hour, you lower cortisol levels by 37%. You turn on 72 genes for healing. And you can decrease blood pressure. Your happiness increases. And there's so many different benefits so that you can use this for weight loss. You can use this for test taking. I just did that yesterday with my son. And for PTSD, for any kind of stress and anxiety.
So can you show us maybe exactly what you mean by tapping? So that because for people like I've never done it, I'd be honest, full confession, just want to understand what it is.
So in EFT, there is a statement that we say, which is even though I'm feeling, and you can say, I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling depressed, something like that. You fill in the blank. I deeply love and accept myself. And some people can't say I deeply love and accept myself. That can start to bring up some more emotion. So you can say, I'm willing to love myself. I would like to like myself, but you pick something that is comfortable for you. And then you can start tapping. Also, as a scientist, I like this other part of it. You say how much it's affecting you on a scale of 0 to 10. So you want to say this is a 10, like I'm really upset, or not at all. Obviously, you're not.
You mean what you're trying, the negative emotion that you're trying to
so
discharge.
If you're feeling really
how
anxious,
much is it affecting you?
Yeah, like if you're having a panic attack, it's going to be a 10, right? So you would start at a 10, and then you say even though, and you start tapping, and you keep track of that number as you're tapping, so you can actually see how you're going to feel better. Is there something you want to work on by any chance? Because then you'll be able to see how it works.
I would love to. Please take me. I'm your subject. I'm right here.
So what would you like to tap on?
Which emotion you're asking?
Yeah, any emotion that you'd like to work on.
Any emotion that I would like to work on. You know what? I'd like to lower my anxiety because I think I'm doing reasonably well with it as a woman in menopause, as everybody knows. But regardless, I think as we get older, our resilience is just not the same, and I feel better overall. But I still have this undercurrent of anxiety that lives with me every single day, and so I would like to really lower that if possible.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so in this moment, on a scale of 0 to 10, what number would you give it?
I'm probably like between 5 and 6. Let's say it's a 6.
Okay.
Right now.
I would guess that it's a little higher, based on, because I sense energy.
Let's make 8.
Okay. I saw an 8. There was a slight 7 in there, but, okay. So I'm very, very sensitive to energy. So you're going to notice how I actually can sync up with your energy. I have very strong mirror neurons that work.
You're reading me. People, if you're not in video, so this is, I know you're always welcome to listen to my podcast and whatever is the platform of your choice. But I do want you at this point to actually get on video because I think you need to see it. You need to see my face. When she said 8, my face almost dropped because you are 100% correct.
It's okay. It's okay. I work with people all the time. I mean, I once walked into a ICU with my niece, not ICU, urgent care with my niece. And there was a woman that came in with a full-on panic attack, never met me before. And I was able to sit down with her and get her from a 10 all the way down to a 2 in 10 minutes. So here we go. You ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. Take a deep breath in and out. Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to start tapping right here on the hand.
So left hand or right hand?
Well, I usually use my right hand to tap on my left. So
Okay.
it's up to you,
'Cause
whichever
you're
one's
right-handed.
comfortable. Yes, I'm right-handed.
I'm right-handed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm tapping
So you're going to
here.
tap on your hand. So it's the karate chop point is what we call it. And we're going to say, even though my anxiety is at a 10 or at an 8,
my anxiety is at an 8.
I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
Did you feel your tailbone untucking right there?
A little bit, you know,
Yes.
actually, I feel my back is a little easier. So
Yes.
if you guys, if you're not watching us on video, what I have is that I have my left fist, you know, you sort of like, you know, pumping up fist in the air and I'm tapping with my right fingers right at that very small, you know, area where your fingers in your palm actually make an angle and, you know,
Yes.
at whatever speed Amy here wants me to go to.
Yes.
Okay.
She's trying to avoid this.
I am trying to.
Okay, so go to the top of the head.
Really
it's going to
hard.
feel great. I felt your
Okay.
hips relax and your tailbone relax earlier. So now we're on the top of the head. So the hand, by the way, we release grief from there. So anything around
Okay.
disappointment, sadness, grief, rejection. Good. Take a deep breath in and out.
I like the head. It works well on me.
Yes, that's where the anxiety point is.
They had. I feel like, you know, like I'm lighter when
Yes.
maybe I should be tapping my head more often. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
let's go.
That's
with
exactly
that.
what people say. So when you said lighter, we actually are releasing that emotional baggage. So that's why this
Wow.
works. So this point up
Okay.
here on top of the head is the one that we are releasing looping thoughts, anxiety, overthinking. As we were doing that, your chest started to open up and relax, which is a sign that we're getting into the parasympathetic nervous system where we rest,
Right.
digest, and heal. Okay, we're going to go to the inner eyebrow.
Inner eyebrow. Let me remove
Yes.
my glasses here. Okay, inner eyebrow. So now we're
Yes.
tapping at the inner eyebrow.
Yes. So we're at the inner eyebrow and we're going to say, even though, no, just
Even
on the
though.
inner eyebrow,
Even though
even though I have this anxiety.
I have this anxiety.
Okay, so it's now a solid 7. So do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
Good,
And
take
actually, you
another-
know what? This time I actually believe it, what
Yes.
I said.
Yes, good. Take a deep breath in and out. Good. We're going to go the outside of the eye.
Oh, I
And
like
we're gonna-
that. This also could double as a facial.
Yes, it's actually moving lymph. So that's good. It'll make you look a lot more chiseled.
Chiseled.
So we're on the outside of the eye and we're going to say, even though
Even though
I have this anxiety.
I have this anxiety.
It sounds like it's at a 6 now. Is that where you're at? Yeah.
Yeah.
I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
Okay, so right there, you just felt the energy going down the back of your legs. Your feet are tingling. This is another sign that you're getting grounded into your body. Good.
Yeah.
So she's shaking her head.
No, I feel
so-
much more relaxed.
Yep. So on the inner eyebrow and the outer one, we're releasing frustration and anger. Okay. So just whatever's kind of at the surface.
I need to keep tapping a lot on that frustration and anger part.
This one's going to be a good one for you too, underneath the eye. So this one helps us to release control. So a lot of times when we have anxiety, it's because we're trying to control a lot of different things. So it's actually right underneath the eye that you'll feel a divot in the bone there.
Yes, I do.
Good.
Oh, wow.
So you're
Okay.
going to be tapping there and you say, even though I have this anxiety.
I have this anxiety.
So it's at about a 5 right now. Would you agree?
It's even lower than that.
Okay, good. Take a deep breath in and out. I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
Good. Let's go under the nose.
Under the nose.
Good. This one's
I
really,
like how we travel all over the whole face in the
Yes.
head.
This one's really great for people who are feeling overwhelmed. So most people who are feeling stressed are feeling overwhelmed. This connects the mind and the body. So a lot of times when we're feeling anxious, we get too far in the head and we forget that we have a body and we don't take care of it. We don't nurture it. We don't make it rest. So this helps to reconnect the mind and the body. Good. So are you feeling more like you're sitting in your chair now?
I am.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I need less support. So I like that.
Yeah. Good. Take a deep breath in and out. So the exhale should always be longer than the inhale. That helps with relaxing. Okay, so this point underneath the lip is the next point. And this is where we have not spoken our truth. So maybe we wanted to be kind. Maybe we didn't want to set a boundary. Maybe we were unkind to ourselves. So this is the negative self-talk. So we're just helping to release any of that that's going on in the background. I'm not good enough. I didn't do enough, whatever. We're letting all
that's
that
like
go.
a constant daily negative self-talk here. So let's see how that works.
Take a deep breath in and out. Good. So again, your hips were relaxing again, especially your tailbone. So as animals are in the wild, and if they're feeling threatened, they curl up into a tight ball, right? They're protecting their organs.
Right.
Humans do the same thing. We just don't even realize it because it's just really the tailbone tucks under. Okay, we're going to go down to the chest. So
chest.
We're right underneath the collarbone.
Right. So we're on both sides, right on both underneath the collarbone.
Yeah. If you know K27, that's the kidney meridian point. So we're working on fear here. So any fear that's at the surface that we need to let go of. Good. You're feeling a lot more grounded in your feet. Are your feet tingling?
My feet just feel lighter because, like usually like a lot of stress, it's in my back, it's in my shoulders, it's like back of my legs, I'm almost constantly aware of it. Right. And so, I feel like, the muscles are actually more relaxing right now. Like I'm less aware that, that this is happening, in other words.
Yes. Good. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay, so we're going to go to the center of the chest. Now, this is not in traditional tapping, but this is what I include in tapping because it's an absolute must. This is where we are coming back to ourselves, bringing our energy back in, and we're saying, I'm here for you. I love you. I forgive you. I'm giving you some compassion and
so
love.
Say in my head, I accept myself.
You don't even have to say that. It already is just happening. When you tap here, it's just recalibrating your whole energetic system and you're just loving yourself. This is often where people do cry because we're so used to receiving conditional love and not unconditional love. And this is unconditional love. Yeah. We're just saying, even though I have this anxiety. At a level, wow, you're all the way down to a 3. It looks like a 3. Yeah. I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
Good. Take a deep breath in.
I have to tell you, let's finish this. This is highly restorative.
Yes.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah.
This is such an easy to do grounding technique. I mean, it's not super complicated. You just have to, do it. Like everything else. But
you can remember it after a few times. Yeah, it's not too hard.
Yeah.
So we're going to go down to where the bra line is, or hands with down from the armpit.
Okay.
So we're going to tap on the left and the right. So we're going to look like a monkey. Like if you can see,
I like that. So this is some movement of the body side to side. Okay.
So basically, what we're releasing here is anger on the right side and worry on the left. Okay. So we're going to say, even though I have this anxiety, it's down to a 2.
I love and accept myself. Yes. And yes, it is definitely down to a 2. I'm thinking about how anger and worry, they're sort of, 2 sides of the same coin, because when you're worried and you become angry over that, and then you're angry and of course you're worried. So it's just, it's extraordinary.
All these emotions are interconnected. And so that's why I do say I would love for them to tap on all the points. But like I said, sometimes we're out in public and we don't have the time, or we don't feel comfortable tapping on top of our head.
Sure.
To reset. But like I said to my son yesterday, because he was taking a test, he was having a lot of anxiety. I told him about tapping right here under the desk on his hand, on the karate chop point. And, Another one that you can do that's also a great reset if you're just waiting somewhere and you're just feeling anxious, you can cross your fingers.
So cross the fingers as if you're stretching your hands, your arms.
Yeah, so you're going to interlace your fingers and then you're going to put it where your knuckles are on top of each other and squeeze. So you're only going to squeeze for like 30 seconds and you'll feel reset. What I often feel is that the energy drains from down the back of the head, down the spine.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I feel like we have to take a deep breath. Are you ready for some more?
Please, so I let me just stop for a second. I have to tell to everyone right here, right now, that this is number 1, simple. Number 2, fun. And number 3, highly restorative. And, and I tried a lot of techniques because, I do, of course, box breathing. I have a little, vagus nerve stimulated device that I use. I tried heart math, but that all requires a little bit of a device therapy. But this is just you, this is just you. I mean, it's amazing. I have to say, it's really amazing.
You can do it anywhere, anytime.
Anywhere, anytime. Yeah. Okay, let's do more. I
love it. You take it with you. You don't have to recharge anything.
Nope.
So this one, you're going to get a kick out of this one. This one was the first one that went viral on TikTok, and it's basically my favorite go-to because most people can't tell you're even doing it. What you're going to do is you're going to turn your head to the left, and you're going to hold it for about a minute.
Okay.
And what you will experience is a yawn or tears. If the yawn feels like it's getting stuck, you just open up your mouth and it'll start to come. Or you could take a deep breath and relax. There it goes. I saw I saw your legs are tingling. Yeah. And your feet are getting grounded.
So this sequence, would you say all these movements, they have to follow each other? Or would you say like you must have a certain, certain movements all the time? Like you cannot skip. Like in other words, the sequence, we did our karate chop, then we did the top of the head, then we did the top of the eyebrows, then we did sort of under the eyes, then we did under the nose, and outside of the eye, under the eye. So we sort of went in a circle, right?
Yeah.
Sort of, under the nose, under the lower lip, and then we just went down, chest, middle of the chest, and the side. So it's sort of like it sort of almost like a question mark in many ways. So
yes.
is that sequence important? Kind of keeping
so
it in that
it
sequence?
is not absolutely necessary that you follow that exact flow, but you can go anywhere you want. I do recommend that you do start the way that I start, just so that you get familiar and you continue to use the same points each time, because you don't want to really forget a point. But if you do, it's okay. You don't have to do EFT perfectly. The last thing that I want to show you as well as, which is a quick reset, is where you take your hands. And I usually do this at the end of the tapping session with my people on social media. So we take our hands like this and we place them over our heart and we hold it for 20 seconds. This is like giving ourselves a hug, and we are supposed to get 8 hugs a day at least to thrive. And this releases oxytocin, which helps to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system and helps us to rest, digest, and heal. It helps us feel bonded to ourselves and others. So this is extremely good for the body. People are so much nicer. Like you're so much nicer to your partner if you do this.
This is great. This is great.
So all of these are just about building your resilience, and it becomes a muscle that you are flexing every once in a while when you need it.
So what would you say? Because usually, you're right that consistency is key, right?
Yeah.
So would you suggest that at the very minimum, people do it, let's say, once a day? Or are you kind of, if you do, let's say, 2 or 3 times a day or 5 times a day, you're more likely to see the benefit? Like, what should be the cadence of doing this? Because this was pretty easy to do. We've done it in about 12 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than that. Didn't take, wasn't particularly complicated. You can sort of do it just sitting at your desk if you're working and stuff. So, what should be a good routine for a person?
A good routine, I would definitely do the gentle nervous system reset every single day. And a lot of people do it in the morning and at night because it really helps them prepare for sleep and it helps them prepare for the day. So they're nice and calm. A lot of people do wake up with anxiety, so this does help with that. And then throughout the day, you can use the other ones like you can turn your head to the left if you're on your way to work and you're at a stoplight or something like that. Or you can interlace your knuckles if you're in a meeting. Or there's another one that I didn't teach you, which is you put your left hand over your left eye and you look up. So there's lots of different ones that you can do. I have them listed in my book as well. Or on social media, I have a lot of them too. And I'm always coming up, teaching them new ones. There's lots of them.
So tell us about your book, because I love the fact that you wrote a whole book about this and, it has tremendous, since you're a former science teacher, tremendous scientific explanation, right? So tell us what the book is, what's in the book, and, what should people really focus on as they're reading the book?
Yeah. So this book is all about my healing journey and the things that I learned that really cause a stark transformation. So the things that I list here are backed up by science. So I have over 200 research articles that are supporting the things that I'm saying in here. So they are very powerful. And I'd like to say that I was chronically ill for 30 years. And when I had my DNA looked at and they looked at the age of my immune system, it was 14 years younger after doing all this work. And I just had Function Health do my blood work and I got, I was 11 years younger on the inside. So as somebody who grew up chronically ill, I was so sick for so long and I never thought I was going to get better. And here I am healthier now than I was even at 9 years old, which is hard to imagine. Yeah. So, the things that I offer in the book is called Bridging the Divide.
There it is. And we'll have a link to Amy's book in the show notes. So please, if you're interested in Bridging the Divide, I'm definitely getting this book so that I can read it. I can't wait. Okay.
Yeah. It's, what the thing is we overcomplicate healing a lot of times. We need to get back to the basics, like listening to our body, our emotions. We know that we need to slow down. We know that we need to eat better. We know that we need to sleep better. And in my book, I offer the tools and the techniques that are going to get you there quickly. So I know that for sure this is going to improve people's health. It's so exciting because not only will it improve people's health, but it will also help them get happier in life, which is an incredible gift to give people.
That is so true. And I have to tell you, when it comes to chronic diseases, it almost seems like there is such a strong correlation between depression, anxiety, and emergence of chronic diseases. And then on the reverse side, or sort of the reverse path also works. People who are chronically ill, unfortunately, get depressed and they get anxious. And, it becomes this never ending loop where reset seems to be almost impossible. But what's interesting with these emotional freedom techniques, and especially the one that you developed, which is so fairly easy to execute, it's not particularly complicated, is that one could actually begin building those, steps to reset, which I think, you would probably agree, because a lot of people don't realize that it isn't some sort of a big, bold, tremendous move that is going to shift your health. It's more of this series of incremental changes, as long as they are consistent, that are actually beginning to really shift the needle, because we're like those big ships, right? We're like a Titanic, like you need to position just in time or you're going to get smacked into that iceberg, iceberg being all the chronic diseases that sort of conspire at us, in the sea of life. But this is super eye-opening. So give us a hint, in the book, what's the science behind emotional freedom technique? Like what are, when we do this, we do the karate chop and the hand point, what actually is happening in the body, kind of the main loop that is responsible for these positive effects that we're seeing.
Right. Well, so one is based on Chinese medicine. So I didn't come up with EFT. I came up with the gentle nervous system reset, where we take the words out and we just take a moment to tap on our body and breathe. So EFT the research is for an hour of tapping, and you can rewrite trauma, limiting beliefs, and fears very well. Permanently. What it does is it does change the structure of the brain and how it's oriented towards the world. So if you are feeling a fear, let's say, of going over a bridge, and you do some tapping, you will no longer fear going over that bridge. Like, it's that good. One session could do it. It's possible. If you tune into your body, you listen to the messages that are coming up, and you clear it, because what you're doing is you're having that anxiety or that fear, right? And then you're interrupting the loop with the tapping. So when that happens, the brain is forced to take down what it already knows and rebuild a new framework around the situation. So if you're thinking about bridges and you used to feel scared, and then all of a sudden you're feeling calm, you will then associate bridges and calm together. So that's what you're basically doing with the body and the brain when you're doing EFT, whether if you're working on fear, or if you're working on anxiety, or if you're working on your feelings of disappointing people, or whatever you're working through, it will rearrange that thinking in a totally different way. And the way that I see it, because you saw that I'm very, very good at feeling what people are going through, I can see these emotional patterns leaving their body. And I can see how the nervous system is resetting, which is going to change the chemicals that are running through the body, the hormones that are running through the body, which the thing is it's going to change your thinking, which is more predominant, and that's going to help over time. So the more positively we think, or the less we think about trauma or anxiety or depression or things like that, the more we heal. So when we start focusing on the nervous system, we are able to sleep better. We're be able to make better choices for ourselves. We're able to be more present. We don't regret what we said. We don't miss certain moments. We don't look back and say, what's my life become? Because you're present in it and you're making the right choices. So I went down the whole path of like, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to cold plunge. I'm going to infrared sauna. I'm going to do all the things. But it was only until I really paid attention that the one common thread that really causes healing is when you deal with the nervous system and you let go of the trauma, the limiting beliefs, the fears, and the negative self-talk, that you then can finally really, truly, permanently heal and not have the repercussions from the past creeping up in your future.
That is so true. And years ago, investigators at Harvard Medical School, one of the Mass General Hospital, one of the leading hospitals for a lot of diseases, including cardiology, these investigators are very focused on the investigations of inflammation. And so there was an absolutely stunning article, and I think it should have gotten probably a little bit more exposure, but it was in our main cardiology journal by Dr. Peter Libby. And what they were describing is so-called echo effect. And what they meant by this is that when somebody, for example, suffers from a heart attack, not only there is pain involved, because heart attacks tend to be painful, but of course there's a huge emotional trauma, right? There's all these alarm signals that are being sent to the brain. And so within the brain, the pathways that trigger those negative thoughts, the fear pathways, actually lead to direct signaling, inflammatory signaling to our immune system. And the immune system cells migrate to the area of ruptured coronary plaque in the attempt to heal it. And so they call it the echo phenomena, because once it's sort of in your head, but it's also in your heart. And there is a loop between the head and the heart. And I first became aware of it because when I was training as a cardiologist in the fellowship program, one of our co-fellows, we're a group of 5, one of our co-fellows was, initially he was trained in the United Kingdom. So he was retraining here in the US to be able to practice. And he was absolutely stunned that when we admit patients with acute myocardial infarction, we are not providing any sedatives or any real pain relief. And we just focused very much on, treating the coronary arteries and make sure that a person is otherwise okay with the heart rate and blood pressure and doesn't really have angina. And he said, how could you do this? Because, these patients, they're so scared, they're in so much pain that a little bit of medication and controlled circumstance can actually heal them so much faster. And we started doing it and kind of, adopting this view that this is what our patients need to get. And I have to say that it was a very positive experience for those patients, positive experience for us, because it took the edge off, right? So that what it was. It took that edge off. And, years later, obviously, once these articles came out and I started reading them, I began to understand that there is a physiologic phenomena too. It's not, it's actually, it may start in your head, just as you're saying, but it continues in your body. And it is your body that eventually, if you don't take care of it, will continue to mess with your head. So, so the loop is continuous, and being able to interrupt it on your own by just these emotional freedom techniques and, part of that energy medicine spectrum, I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah. What's interesting about what you're saying is that, for instance, like if you're angry for 4 hours later, your immune system is lowered. And how often do we stay angry? It's like, no wonder why we get sick, right? So,
right.
The emotional freedom technique and other somatic practices help you to release that anger so that you realize that, I think Buddha said this, anger is like holding onto a hot stone and not throwing it. So it only burns you. And that's the problem, is you hold on to this anger and it's lowering your immune system and it's creating these chemicals that are destroying you from the inside out. So it's best to release and let go of these things for your own health, not for somebody else, which is, I have a whole chapter on forgiveness, because a lot of people are like, I can't forgive my parents, or I can't forgive so-and-so. But it's like, you're not forgiving for them. You're forgiving for yourself.
For you.
The people who forgive live longer, are happier, have more purpose. There's like all this data. And it was so interesting when I was doing the book, because all these things, like I was saying, we have this wisdom. We just know, I should be grateful. I feel better when I'm grateful. But like, there's real science behind why you want to have more gratitude in your life, or why you want to forgive people, or why you want to go for a walk, why we feel so good after a walk. It's very simple, but it's profound, and it does make drastic changes. Like, even like people don't understand the interaction between like going for a walk and creativity, as well as it lowers blood sugar, right? In a positive way. It takes out it dumps the excess blood sugar that might be running through the body, which could be causing problems. Cortisol, when it raises, it's going to cause blood sugar to go up, which is also going to impact the body. And so if you can do something regularly that's going to help to lower those stress levels, you're doing so much good for the body.
That's amazing. And so people who wish to work with you, Amy, how can they find you and how they can become part of Stark Transformation? I love that name, Stark Transformation. You. So how can this happen?
I have a website that's called Stark Transformation. So you can sign up on my newsletter. And that's where I tell everybody the latest upcoming things. But find me on social media. I have all these different tapping sessions, resets. I remind people, because we need to be reminded, especially in the beginning, how to have a gratitude practice, or how to reset our nervous system, or even just reminding people, don't forget, you can teach your kids this. Like, you can also pass down this tool, because they are suffering, and you can actually shift their life, the course of their life, with giving them these tools so that they can handle their childhood a lot more easily. So, so find me on social media under Stark Transformation.
So you heard it, starktransformation.com. And, I think last year I did top 5 for 2025, and giving grace, giving gratitude to yourself, I believe, was my number 1. And I think here for 2026, I still feel it's at that number 1 position. I don't think it will ever shift. And, the more we can learn and bring this gratitude and a gentle nervous system release into our life, especially our contemporary life that challenges us with so many more things that maybe perhaps even now, just a generation ago didn't even exist, I think the better off we will be. And, it's an extraordinary protection against chronic diseases.
It really is.
It really is. And something that if people are truly committed to health optimization, this potentially is stronger than many other things that are so much more expensive, because this works. Amy, thank you. This was a delight. I learned a lot. I do feel better. I'm definitely implementing this. This is like a cool new little trick that I'm going to do.
I'm so glad that I taught you, so you can teach others. It's going to be great.
I will teach others. Yeah. You guys got it. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Of course. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to Own Your Heart Health with Dr. Regina Druz. This podcast is powered by Holistic Heart Centers. If you enjoyed the show, Please rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. To learn more about our services, visit holisticheartcenters.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The link is in the show notes. See you next week.